You're wearing the glasses.
Okay, my screen recorder's running.
It's better looking.
And I looked this article up by Cyril, first vice president of Daughters of Utah Pioneers, says she thinks the best way church members today can honor the pioneers is by talking about them. I just think by talking about them and learning about them, learning about their trials, it helps us overcome our fears and helps us build our faith and our testimonies. She said it has been rewarding to pass on her knowledge about her pioneer ancestors to our posterity by coming up with different ways to help her children and grandchildren remember them. She once made books for the children containing information and pictures of their pioneer ancestors. I think they were all surprised to see how many ancestors they had and the different things that they went through. So in this time of life, 2023, we can help our teenagers learn about their ancestors by helping us make videos about their lives by using DeepStory software by MyHeritage. Rex suggests the best way to honor our ancestors is to honor our covenants. Second best is to talk about them. Okay, and then I've got this handout, which Sister Black can give you a copy of. And it tells how to make DeepStory videos. It tells you about the steps involved. First, you get colored pictures through the MyHeritage colorizer and an enhancer. And the photos sometimes can be too small. They need to be probably over 50 kilobytes. If they're 12 kilobytes, they'll be rejected and say it's too small. Now, if you got one that's too small, you can enlarge it in your photo viewer and then take a screenshot of what you're seeing, and you get a new size that'll be maybe 30 to 40 or 50 kilobytes, and MyHeritage will accept that one. Also, if the photo's 6 megabytes, from a camera, a phone camera, that's too big, and the software called OrphanView allows you to reduce the size down to, say, 500 kilobytes or something less than a megabyte. Now, interrupt me anytime you have questions. Don't be shy.
What was the program you just said that would reduce it?
OrphanView.
Is that a free software, Rex?
Yes, and Sister Black has looked into it, and the instructions tell you how to download it and install the plugins. It does a lot of wonderful things for you for free. So these instructions that she'll give you at the end tell you how to get it downloaded. And it also has a link to MyHeritage video on how to make MyHeritage videos. And we'll go through how to do it in a minute. It also has a, yes, go ahead.
Does that software let you crop and
Definitely
enhance photos in any way that Heritage Maker doesn't let you?
Right. You don't have to use Photoshop or something like that. You can use OrphanView's got those features for cropping. It's got hundreds and hundreds of features. And I've got a handout on OrphanView that I can send to Sister Black, and she can distribute it to you. So so you need the skills of colorizing, and you need the skills of making a deep story. But sometimes you want to link multiple deep stories together. A deep story can only have 7,500 characters in it before it runs out of gas and says, sorry, that's all you get. And the last two I've done, I did one recently on my great-grandmother, Charlotte Moulton, who was in the 1910 census. And I did one on Posey that's in the 1910 census. And it was, both of them turned out to be about 9 minutes long, the video.
Now, Rex, I got a question.
Yeah.
The first thing that you did on your parents lasted 30 minutes. So how did that work out?
That's what I'm getting at, is that another skill you might have to have, if you want to link them together, is you got to put all 5 of them into a video editor.
Okay.
And I have some suggestions in the handout on video editors also. So I had my father, his first wife died, Mary Lake, in childbirth. I had about a 6-minute video on her. And I had 3 videos on my dad, about 6 minutes each. And 1 video on my mother, about 6 minutes. So 5 times 6 is 30. So this movie was 33 minutes long. And Sister Black wanted me to cut it back to about 12 minutes for the DUP, which I did. But I had to use a video editor to do that. Okay, so another skill that you need to have is you need to know how to use File Explorer. Do all of you understand what I mean by File Explorer?
No. Let's have you explain it.
Let me hold down my flag key on my keyboard and hit my E key. Do you see a pop-up window in front of you now?
Yes.
Oh, good. You see up in this left-hand corner here it says File Explorer. That's the name of this Microsoft software, and it's very important that you know how to use it to manage your files and folders. And I'm working on a PowerPoint type presentation on that I'll give to Sister Black, and she can help you with that. Now, so in File Explorer helps you build folders and subfolders and so forth. So you'll see over here on the left side, I've got, here's this PC, but this PC has only 2 storage devices. It has the local disk C, which is the hard drive in the computer. And then I've got an external drive called Western Digital 2 terabyte, which is given the E, drive E, so local disk is a C, and as you plug in devices, storage devices, it gives them letters. And I've had folders here, and on all these, I've got one here called my Family History Western Digital 2 terabyte. And inside that, I've got DeepStory folders. And you make folders by clicking on this guy up here at the top. This is the best way to always that's always available. If you watch YouTube videos on how to do it, they'll tell you to right click down on this space here. But you have to go to an open area and I don't even see it pop up there now. Right click. It's not even popping up there now. That's
You know,
because,
Greg,
yes,
let me make this comment. It's interesting how many people that have used a computer for a long time have no idea how to manage their files or folders. So this is good. This is really good.
it's really important, right? So, and I want to point out something while this is here, and then I'll do a little bit more. You see, what's wonderful about this right now, the way they have it, is if you hold down the flag key on the second key over on the bottom of your computer, that's the Microsoft flag key, and then hit E. E stands for Explorer. So that's the shortcut to open File Explorer. And it tells you right off when you do that what the most recent files you have. So I know Sister Black was saying that some of you, when you were doing colorizing, and you'd say, download the colorized picture, you'd say, well, where did it go? You know, and it has to go somewhere on your computer. And if you go flag E, this pops up, and your most recent files that you've worked on are here. There's the 20 more recent. If I right click, you can go down, and down at the bottom is open the file location. So on your mouse, left click is select, right click is options, and then the wheel in the middle. So there's three parts of the mouse. The wheel will help you scroll up and down. Right click will give you options of other things to do, and left click is to select a thing. So I'm going to select open file location. And you see here's Wayne H. Red. It's in planning, history, and stories. And so if I go over here on the left now, and I go to, and these little arrows here on the left, if there's an arrow, a little pointy arrow, a greater than sign, I guess, that means there's subfolders or child folders, children of this folder. So I'd say that this is WD 2 terabytes is the mother, and then these are all our mother's children. And I click this one, and it points down now, and here is grandchildren. And
Rex?
here, yes?
Okay, so on our screen, a picture of you and a picture of us is taking up a third of the screen. Can you minimize us and make your screen bigger?
That's a good point. No, what you have to do is click the minus sign up at the, well, in Zoom you do that. I'm not sure.
Where did we go?
Is there a place that you can minimize the pictures of me?
You can't see it.
No.
Well,
She's
the
telling you,
screen
to-
is
she's
the
telling you to
screen.
go down to there.
No, the Google, the Chrome.
The Google thing,
Yeah.
Google Chrome,
Right
bring it back up.
No. You click the
Usually I
Chrome,
can-
Left.
Right
the
here.
round
Bring it right
colored,
there.
the round colored.
Bring your arrow over to the left,
Right here.
right there.
She's trying to do something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's back, yeah. Oh, but he said to do the minus.
Well, there's the minimize. I minimized it, just great.
Put it in.
Are you okay now?
You're
No,
gonna
it's-
minimize him. What she's trying to do is minimize the
Us.
picture of us and of you. So you have more screen.
Right.
Oh, that's
There
it.
you go.
Ours are smaller.
I wonder.
Usually there's an option, when I've done Zoom, to take all the presenting people and,
Google Meet.
okay.
Google Meet.
Yeah, this is not Zoom. This is Google's Meet, and
You can't
I
remove.
agree on Zoom. There's that minus. You can make the pictures just a strip of narrow, unobstructive, and you can move it around. On meat, I don't know what to do about that problem.
Okay.
You're having a hard time seeing.
Yeah. Aren't you having a hard time reading anything? Okay, all right, keep going. I can't even see how to make this giant so it takes off all this part. That would help too.
Try right up here at the top.
So can you see my File Explorer window?
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay.
okay,
So you see down here is family history, and then underneath that is landing history and stories. I click that. That opens up. Now we got deep stories. I click that. And if I just select deep stories now, see I've got a lot of subfolders under deep stories on the left, but if I click on it, then they'll be in the second window over here. And so here's the deep story folders that I've made to put pictures in and to store the final product when it comes out. So that's all I'm going to do on File Manager right now. Let me just minimize that and go on with my story over here. Let's see. Can you see? I'm scrolling down through all about the technology that you need, and so you've got to make a YouTube. You've got to have a YouTube channel to upload it to, and I'll go through the Google Docs, how to do the Google Docs here in a minute. I guess that's all I want to do on that. Let me go now to the 1910 census. Here's the 1910 census for San Juan Grayson, Enumeration District 146. And there's 15 images. That means 15 photographs were taken of the 15 pages that make up this ED 146. And I'm on image number 1 and all these images for the gringos and the white people in the 1910 census are 50 images per page. And so we got image 1, line 1 is my grandfather, Peter Minnerly Shumway, with my grandmother and 9 of their 12 kids here, with my father there as a 4-year-old boy, and Uncle Glenn as a 1-year-old boy. Then we go to Jens Nelson and his wife Jenny and Helen and Shirley. And then we go to the John Young family. This Bremer guy could be a fake from Texas. That he's boarding in the Castle House there on Center Street with Jens Nilsson family. But I can't find any other files on him when I put him in the family tree and did searches. And so he might be on the run from the law and just giving fake information. I'm not sure. But then we got John R. Young, and then the Hardys, Aaron Hardy, and some Winborns, which I didn't know about. And here's Walter, Lyman, and Livy. And here's Joseph A. Lyman and Nellie G. And you know what the G stands for?
Grayson.
Right. That was Nellie's mother's maiden name and their kids. And so that's down to line 40. And then if you go to image 2, you'll see it starts at 51 and goes down to 100. and then it goes back to 50 on the third page, 1 to 50 on the next page. But anyway, let me show you now. I've gone through and I've made links to all. So there's 4.5 pages. Well, there's 4 full pages of white guys, and then 16 more on another 5th page, and then 6 pages blank, and the 7th page it starts the Indians, and they only do 20 per page, and it goes on out to page or image 15 with the Indians, which Posey is one of them. Now I kind of tell a little bit about how planning got started here, and here's a link that we're looking at now. Just finished the 1910 census, and Mr. Frost from Monticello came and did the census, and this tells about Mr. Frost there. And in the cemetery, the first person in the cemetery was Albert R. Lyman and Mary Ellen Perkins' child Meade, who died at age 2 months. So these are people that are in the cemetery that I found from Find a Grave, buried in the cemetery before the census came out in 1910. So then a Nelson girl named Virginia, 2 months. Then a Carol. He was 20 months old. He was born in Pacheco, Chihuahua, and died in Grayson. And then there's links to them in Family Tree. And then a Porter boy. Then a young age 2 girl. Then there's a special case of this guy that's buried in the cemetery, but is not in the census in 1910. And I traced him down, that he was born in Santa Barbara, Eugene Galt, and joined the Army. When he got out of the Army, we find him in the 1900 census over in the adjoining county, Garfield County. And he joined the church in 1999. And in 1910, he went to Manti Temple and got his endowments. And 3 days later, he died. How he ended up in the cemetery, I don't know. But his body was brought back here, and he was buried in Blanding. And I can't find any relatives for him. I didn't seem to have a wife, and so I don't know how he ended up in the Blanding Cemetery. But then we started the 2010 census with the links to all the people, and we show, is there a video on this person? Yes or no, or not yet? And if there is a video, if the answer is yes, how dominant are they, or how important are they in the video from a rating of 1 to 5? 5 would be a lot of discussion about them. And so I'd give the videos that I've made on the Shumways now about a 3 on my grandfather. And there's 44 members and 44 memories and 44 sources. And on we go down through all 216 people. Now, I've made a spreadsheet of which I call a video tracker spreadsheet. So when people volunteer to work on a video, we don't want a lot of volunteers working on the same video when there's a lot of work to be done. So whoever you decide to work on, let Sister Black know, and I'll give her the edit rights to this file here. And so this is the people, and I've put it in alphabetical order so that she can find people easier. So Peter Allen and Martha Jane Black are on page or image 3, line 45, and then 46, and so forth. Then the head of house, now a new head of house, I've got in red Ollie Hanson Bayless and Evelyn Lyman and their kids. And so when anybody says, I'll work on a video, after they finish it, they should rank it. So here's my great-grandma, Charlotte Moulton, Carol. And so I says, Rex Shumway's worked on this, and here's a link to one video about her, and she's a 5 in that one. Here's a link to a second one, and she's ranked a 5, and on that one, her children are ranked only 1, except for Thomas. I ranked him as a 2 on this one video. And then the Shumways, I've got a couple of videos on those where Eunice is only mentioned. She married a guyman and lived over in Moab, actually, for most of her life. Then we've got the Hardys. Somebody needs to choose. Zeke Johnson, who was an uncle of mine. And William Bailey Lake, who my dad married his daughter, Mary. So Mary gets a rating of 5 because I've made a video about her. And then she's mentioned in other videos too. And let's see, so then Karen Slavens said that she'd be willing to do a video on Jens Peter Nelson, who is on image number 1, line 12, and then his wife, Mary Jane Roberts, is on line 13 and so forth. I was hoping she'd be here. And then we got the Porters that married into the Carroll's line, and so they've got videos on them. And Kay and Patsy are working on Patsy's grandfather, Wayne Hardison Red, and his wife, Caroline Nelson, and so forth. So let Sister Black know who you're going to choose, and we need somebody to, well, we got a lot of openings, I'll tell you. We need about 50 people recruited in Blanding to make all the videos I'd like to see.
Rex,
Yes.
history supposed to concentrate in Blanding, or do they go where the person lives?
Would you tell me that again?
Somebody else said.
She said, are these histories supposed to concentrate on the person while they lived in Blanding, or are they to go wherever that
Oh, I
person
see.
is going?
No, if they were in Blanding and wherever they went for the rest of their life, just do their whole life. But if they were ever in one of these censuses, I would call them a Blanding pioneer person that we're trying to document. So yeah. So my idea is that, let's see, this document here, this document here with the links in, I would submit it at some point in the future to Family Tree Digital Histories, Family Search Digital Histories. And so anybody that Googles an ancestor, they'll come across this and they'll see it has videos, and so they'll click on the link and it'll take them to, well, let me show you here. Here's Posey, and the church recently put this about here next to details. So if you click about, that's what people will see if they're interested in Posey. They don't have to log in. They don't have to have an account to get to here. And then if they want to click and go further, then it'll ask them to register to let them in for free, of course. Anyway, so anybody in the world that's a descendant of any of these people, if they're out of the church, they don't know about what the church is doing, and they'll come to this spot and hopefully they'll register. And then contribute photos that they have. So you wouldn't recognize Mapua Paiute Posey, and his father is Chipoots, and mother Pana. And so I said, nobody's going to make a video of him, so I will. And so I went to my drive, and let me show you that. So if I go and click on New tab, and I go over in this right-hand corner, and maybe it's blanked out for you guys, but in the right-hand corner of Google, there's 9 dots. You click on the 9 dots, and Drive is one of your choices. It'll show you all the Google apps. And you click on the Drive, and it'll say, okay, here's all your Drive. And you get 15 gigabytes of free storage on Google. And over here at the left, it shows that I have 61 gigabytes. And I'm paying for up to 100 gigabytes for $20 a year. And then you click on New, and under New, you can make a new folder, or a file upload, or a folder upload, or documents, or spreadsheets, or slides, or forms. So all this software is free in Google. And it's wonderful software. And it shows me my most recents up at the very top. And it shows me all my folders here. So here's my DeepStory folders. And let's see if I go to Posey. Let's see. And so here's the DeepStory for Posey's life. And if I go now over to MyHeritage, and that's the colorizer part. There's so under photos, there's DeepStory, right? You know how to do that already. And in DeepStory, you say which photo you want to use, and we'll do that in a minute, but I'll just play. There's no good face pictures of Posey. Even when I doctored a picture of him, I couldn't get the eyes and mouth so that DeepStory was happy with the face and could move the lips and eyes. And so I went and looked for someone that, as his descendant, they could tell his story for him. And Sister Black had found her obituary. This is Loretta Posey, and she died, and in her obituary, Sister Black put it in there, which had this photo in it. So,
hi, I'm Loretta Jean Posey. I will be speaking in place of my great-grandfather, Chief Posey.
now, can you hear that?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we won't worry about that. I've had this problem in Meet before. In order to get the audience to be able to hear it, I have to use a different selection than full screen. I have to use I have to say I'm going to share a tab, and I won't take the time to share it right now because I want to get on and actually do some good here. I want to go next to, suppose somebody decided to choose Jens Peter Nelson. And so here's the Jens Peter Nelson's memories. There's 38 memories here. And they would pick out a photo and say, I want that to be the talking face photo. And then decide, do I want to have a separate story for his wife? Because here's a nice couple photo. Or do I want to have them together? And do I want to have a husband talking for both of them, or make two separate ones? I think in this case I'd make two separate ones, like I did for my parents. But here's a nice photo over here. So let's say we want to use this one for the talking phase. This one's maybe a little bit closer because it's more of a face. This one, it's been cropped down a little tighter. So let's say we want to use that one. So we click on, yes?
I'm just sitting here thinking, and I didn't want to lose the thought. It's too bad that the high schools in San Juan County do not have some type of history class or an art class or something that the high school students couldn't take some of these things on as a project. I'm just being honest when I say this, that most people 70 and older are not really computer literate unless they've had a job that they have done this all of their life.
Right.
Didn't the schools used to have some type of a San Juan historical something? What did Janet Wilcox?
They had a history fair.
But not a history class that just focused on San Juan County, or a computer class that somebody might take something on like this,
I'm gonna go inquire about that.
because that would be, I mean, the youth that are right in there doing whatever, holy cow, they could whip these out in nothing flat, because this is an amazing, amazing project.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some class when my kids were there.
So if I want to continue with making a deep story of Jens Peter Nelson, I need to download this photo. Under Actions, I download it, and it's going to go into some folder. Well, here's the Save As window that pops up. Do you see the Save As window?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want it to go into this folder. So I click on this folder. I go back level. I want to go to Deep Stories. I went too high. And I go, and here's a folder named Jens Peter Nelson. Now over here in the upper corner, you can change your view of all this. But over here is new folder. So suppose I got to this point and I didn't already built this Jens Peter Nelson folder, then I'd go ahead and click new folder and I'd build it. But I want this photo to go into Jens Peterson Nelson folder, and so I just click save. So now I want to do a deep story on him. So I go over here and I go to my deep stories. Here's the deep stories that I've done so far. And here we want to create more deep stories, so I say I click on upload a photo to begin, and then I'd bring up Windows Explorer. So I'd hold down the flag key and hit the E key, and you see right here in the recents down here is the picture that I just downloaded. So I click on that picture and drag it over here to the deep story spot, and it starts analyzing it to see where the eyes and mouth are. I tried to do a deep story of me at Christmas in various countries of the world as part of a Empty Nesters presentation. And I went on a mission in '57 to Australia, so I was using a koala bear to tell my story. And it got rejected, so I tried a kangaroo, and it wouldn't accept that one either. So I used me when I was just starting my mission. And after I had told the story, one of the old ladies that couldn't hear very well said, well, aren't you going to talk? Because she didn't recognize, even though I said, my name is Rex Shumway, she didn't believe me. Anyway, so then you choose male, and you choose the name. Oops. And the first name and the last name, IELSON. And you say next. And so it's already put in some words there. Here's what I'd like you to remember about me. And that's called chapter 1. Then here's additional, make no more chapters, and so forth, and free. And I just use free because I'm customizing my text. But we'll go ahead and just go to this one, and we'll say create over here on the orange. And then it'll have him speak these words, and so that'll be, it says it'll take a minute. If this is expected to take less than a minute, your email will email you, which they never do. But it is amazing when it finishes.
Have you ever had, Rex, have you ever had one of these deep stories that sat and waved that wand for like 20 minutes and never came up with a story?
Yes. Sometimes my computer's gone to sleep.
You just have to start over.
Yeah. You don't want to type too many chapters before you do a save, because you might need to go to the bathroom or something and walk away from your computer, and then you lose what you've typed because it went to sleep. So on the Charlotte Moulton and the Posey stories, it says this may take 26 minutes or so. And it did. It took that long to make a 9-minute movie.
That's after he typed, didn't it? It took that long.
So, if you wanted more on his story, on his chapter, you would do a copy paste and put it there in that window?
I'll show you that in a minute. That's
Okay.
a good question.
And then I also want to know, how did you make the little picture where the little picture's talking and then you had other pictures coming up?
Right. Okay, I'll show you that too.
College operating type, graphic arts. They might take these on your project. Sure be good for history fair. Kids do quite a bit of those classes. I think history classes.
This would be even great young men, young women project.
Well, that's going kind of slow. Let me go to,
This way.
so we need a story, right? So we got to go over here, and hopefully there's a story we can use. And so here's an amazing little incident over on the left, and here's a story about the castle house on the right. And let's see. Here's one called The History of Jens Peter Nelson. Now that sounds like exactly what we want. And so we go here and we can download that to his folder. And see, I've already downloaded it here. It's a PDF file. And so I've saved it already. And now I go over to Google. And let's see, Deep Stories. And I click on, I made a folder called Jens Nilsson. And I uploaded the story, this one here with the PDF icon, the red dot on it. Kind of hard for you to see a bit. But, so that's what I uploaded. Then I said convert it to a doc file. So I
It's the Peter in there, don't you say Jens? His father would be Jens Nilsson in blood. And there's some real mix-ups.
Okay, she's probably saying that you need to make sure you get always have the full name, because there were so many Peters and Jenses and this, that, and the other, that you always want to make sure you got the full name.
Okay. So this was written by his daughter, who married Mr. Biggs. And so now you just take information out of here and paste it into the, let's see, if I take that, I'll copy that, and I'll go over here to MyHeritage, and it's still working away, isn't it? One of the things that it's probably having trouble with is internet access, because I'm recording this video, playing this video, and there might be other people in the house that are on my same Wi-Fi system. And so let me see. I want to cancel that. How do I stop that from progressing?
How do you cancel it? That's what I want to know.
I'll go to Deep Story and see if that stops it. Yeah, that stopped it. Now let me go over and show more. Yeah, they even threw away the one I started, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let me start it again. Upload a folder to begin. And so I'll go over here to the flag key. Yes?
Once you're copying and pasting the text in that you want the deep story to say, is there a limited amount that you should post at one time?
No.
Like, can you post a couple of pages of text?
Yes, you can.
Where do you paste it? Just right there?
But I just do like several sentences.
And it'll just work. And you copy and you go there and you paste and it'll work.
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay, and one thing I didn't talk to you about was voice options. Here is voice options, and we're choosing a speed of normal here in the middle. And here's the voice type. So we've already said it's a male, so, and we can do a Henry.
Hello, I'm one of the voices you can use.
Did you hear him speak?
No, click hear voice.
Okay.
Click hear voice.
Yeah, evidently you're not hearing
Hello,
it.
I'm one of the voices you can use.
That's okay. So we'll just say save. And now, and in this chapter here, we'll just leave that. We'll just paste a new chapter in there, free text. And we'll paste what we copied previously. And we can click here to listen to that. Make sure its pronunciation is right. When I was doing the story on Posey, the artificial intelligence didn't know how to pronounce WikiUp. And so I had to put 2 U's in WikiUp, and then it pronounced it correctly. So sometimes you have to modify it. So that's one chapter. Now here's create another chapter. And then I would go over here to the story and get the next one. Let's see, I went to there, so I'd say maybe I'd do just that much to get the Christmas, the first 5. I don't know where. But anyway, you just work your way along between editing and copying and pasting.
Can you put a new picture with each chapter?
Yes. Let me go to, let me get out of this and go to an example. I won't even save that one. Let me go down to Charlotte Moulton, and I'll say over here, I'll say I want to edit it, and I won't edit it, but I'll just show you the text in the stories. So, hello, my name is Charlotte Moulton. I was born in Archester, North Hampshire, England, and so forth. I remember Mother bringing home bakery, and so I Googled this meat pie, because every Sunday she'd bring home, on Saturday she'd go buy a meat pie, and they'd have meat pie for dinner. Then it tells how they got on the ship Thornton and sailed to the United States with 774 converts of Danish, Swedish, and English ancestry. And then they crossed the plains in the Willie Handcart Company. See, I've got photos everywhere. But you don't have to have photos with them. You can just have them talking. Down by the time I got to the end, I was having a lot of text without new photos in it.
Okay, now those look like the same photos on each one of those.
It's that person.
Oh, the talkie face is the same, but
Okay,
the background.
right. Can you have different faces speaking?
No, that's one thing you can't switch is faces during the creation.
That's why you combine those others.
Okay, so that's why you combined those,
Right.
each one. Okay, very good.
Yeah. Well, okay, it's been an hour. Any other questions we should answer before we call it good for the day? Should we do it again next week or something? Or
Well, I think what needs to happen is if you can send me the link to your recording, and people can review it, and then they simply need to